Anyway. Hello!
3, 2, 1.
Hello!
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good evening
Welcome.
somewhere else.
Depending on when you're gonna watch this video, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Talk O'Clock. It's Sunday. He's back. He's awake. Last week I vlogged on my own because I was a nice wife and he was quite surprised. What does that tell you? But another week has gone by. And at least me, I've been very busy. How about you?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Also,
Same.
It didn't help that our time schedules sort of went counterintuitive for each other. So that when I had work, you were either sleeping or working, or the other way around.
Yeah. But well, what can you do? The month will end soon, and then my horrible schedule, like work-wise, is done.
Mine doesn't.
Yeah, but I can. Currently it's quite difficult to figure out who cleans the flat and who takes down the trash and when we go for food shopping and all of that, just because we're working all the time. We've hardly been gaming, but well, that we knew that going into September, so we're gonna figure it out and make do for at least a couple more days. He's playing with a box already, keeping him occupied and not falling asleep again. But yeah, so shall we start? With art stuff I can talk about and the art stuff that I hurt myself with all over my hands that I can't talk about yet. But I'm very successful with shooting all the videos that I said I would shoot in September, so that is a good thing.
Then go.
I published on Monday the newest art journal page about another favorite literary character of mine, and he actually comes from the mind of my all-time favorite author, Clive Cussler, who's writing the Dick Pitt Numa stories.
Dick or Dirk?
It's really difficult as a German. Here we go. As a German, you would say Dirk. That's the name.
Dirk.
But when you try to pronounce it the international way, but your tongue just you might lose the R somewhere and put in a C or something. So Dirk Pitt is the character's names, and
Dirk. You just have to say it like the Swedish chef. Dirk.
But I'm not Swedish. I'm a chef, but I'm not Swedish.
That's how English.
Yeah, anyways, can we go on? Okay, we can go on. Where was I?
You were talking about the Dick Pit.
Yeah, no. So I published the art journal page watch-along videos for that character, which I love dearly. He and his partner, they have to rescue the world over and over again, so classic thriller. But it always goes with historical, like real history storyline, and also one of the current political or society problems that we have. So he combines that very nicely, and I really like the outcome and the thrillers that go with those stories. So he's actually one of the authors that I refuse to read ebooks from, and I only have very few that I do not own ebooks, but hardcover or I even try to get the English America published books early.
So now that I think that we all know what a Dick Pit is, you can tell us about the art that you actually made.
So I made a piece about him that is Under the Sea. with book pages of a book that I just shredded and
threw into the sea.
No, it's
like, this is an art project.
No, but the fishies and the squids and the sea stars, they're all drawn. Jesus Christ. They are all drawn on book pages. And Dirk is also drawn on book pages, but with Indian ink markers, and so different medium, and he looks very Picasso-esque. I think he's not looking real, and the lighting, hold on, the lighting just gets it. Oh, wow, still? Okay. So now that the ESO problem of this shitty weather outside has been solved, we can go back to the story. So I was, where was I? Hold on, I have to think. Tell me where I was. Don't laugh at me. What was I talking about?
That he looked very unreal.
Oh, Picasso-esque, yeah. So since he is like the superhero character and definitely is like almost like a Christ figure, it's something that every author knows about, every writer. So he's something like that.
Tell me, this arm is getting closer to you.
I love you too, honey. So, since he's that type of a character in the books, I thought, well, let's not go for a realistic portrait of him, but, well, distort it in a way. So, the way it came out, it's you have to get used to it, and again, my art journal page being, I try out new things, new techniques and all that stuff. I'm okay with it. It's not perfect, but hey, what can you do? I still need to have something to learn. Also, I published on Friday the magical flower painting that was done with watercolor and ink. And by the look on his face, I know that he didn't have time to watch it. Or he forgot that he watched it. Did you?
I might not have paid attention the last 30 seconds because I was thinking about
the magical flower painting. Did you watch the video on Friday or not?
Let me think.
Did you have time? Did you forget? So... it's actually inspired by a flower that
it is magical.
We had seen on our vacation, our last vacation in Malta. This one. And
oh, that's looking nice.
Thank you. Mixed media. I'm really amazed. I'm just showing him on my pad.
I'm trying to collect my. I'm sorry, this is super boring for someone.
I might cut.
This is. I'm collecting my thoughts on what to say. Well, in general I like the combination of hard lines together with the bleeding colors one into another. So I generally like those quite a lot.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much how you do it. You first bleed colors into one another, and then on top you draw the lines on it to give it some form.
Yeah. I do that most often with watercolors.
I'm sorry for but
yeah. He did sleep 5 hours. Maybe 6.
Yeah, it's a bad sign. If at 3 o'clock in the night you think
still
about,
can't sleep.
Let's go to bed, and then a friend comes online and says, "Yeah, oh, you're awake still as well. I can't sleep. Let's play a little bit of Destiny, and then you.
And a little bit of Destiny is always more than 1 hour.
Then 4:30.
I was sleeping soundly and dreaming wonderful things at the same time. I was in bed early because I knew that I had to shoot this video today and edit 4 more of them, like the whole shebang with voiceovers and all of that. And I wanted to be awake and energized, so I went to bed early.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, it was a good one.
So, did you do something else or?
Well,
Shitload
of every day it was making one video about something arty that has to do with Christmas, and then I voiced over the videos and edited them if I could, and already uploaded them on a private playlist on YouTube, got the blogs ready so that I can, well, just publish everything by the one finger.
I assume that makes sense to talk about once it's published, right?
No, because that's every day. That's the whole December.
Yeah, but
there will be
December. Then to recap in these videos to say, hey, we did I did this and that, because now with no one having a reference.
No, but that's what I did all week. So I didn't do anything else. The September month that I said the vlog before last, you were there, at least physically. I don't know about your memory. I said that I would only do that. All of September. Nothing else. Because I pre-worked all of the other stuff.
But you did do something else.
I did game.
You did 2 things. Despite not having time for gaming, we actually managed to squeeze in two games.
You know, you can live without clean laundry. You can't live weeks on end without board gaming.
True.
So, yeah, I just didn't do laundry and other stuff. To get 2 games in this week.
Do you wanna start talking about
my wonderful success yesterday?
The crushing defeat, or the other crushing defeat where we both lost?
Oh, okay. No, let's go with the crushing defeat for the both of us, because then the vlog can end on a happy note for me, because the second loss was only for you, my darling. Yeah. Oh.
So we played a second round together. Actually, for me, I think it was the 4th round of the Lords of the Rings.
The card game. I'm sorry. It's an inside joke.
Which, it's just, the manual is ridiculous. With every time, the Lord of the Rings, the card game, because we need to...
and the same also goes for the videos, the YouTube tutorial videos on how to play the game. And
Anyhow, so we played the second scenario, which is... so the first scenario has a difficulty ranking of 1, the second I think 4, and the third is of 7. And we still playing with the stock decks, so each of us picked a deck, and
I played Eowyn.
Yeah, we picked the, I don't know the names. It's the green and the blue one. So it's essentially one is a healing deck, and the other
that was yours.
And the other one I think was card control, drawing cards and stuff. What did your deck do?
I was pretty good on the adventures.
Oh, okay. So the questing
was very easy for me.
No surprise to anyone, questing was really no problem.
No.
What was a problem in scenario
Staying
2
alive.
was the big fat
effing troll.
that stomped.
No, we did not study and practice that.
Who's just stomped. Battery change.
So
we had no problem in terms of questing. We actually had at least I had a pretty good drawing hand at the start, being able to negate a lot of stuff, not to fight too much, and then the scenario starts off with, well, you have to explore this place, and also you have to succeed in fighting this troll. the mountain troll, and he's
A
pretty mean.
bitch.
He has like nine hit points, does 6 damage. I don't remember. Did we talk about the mechanics of?
No, we
Oh.
said we wouldn't because
I'm-
I wanted to have
I'm
another
terribly,
game.
I'm terribly sorry getting ahead of myself. The game is played by you pick a deck and you can actually customize your deck. It's very Netrunner like an LCG where you can either start out with the stock decks that the game provides you with that all have a certain type of kind of archetype, but you're really encouraged to build your own deck. Especially because the tournament decks use, I think, 50 cards, and the stock decks only have 30 or 40. So you're missing out on some things if you don't use your own deck. Regardless, so if you have your deck, you're ready to face off against the hordes of Sauron. You pick an adventure, and an adventure essentially consists of a couple of cards that you have to flip over that come with instructions saying, to beat this chapter, you have to do this or that. And a turn typically starts with, first off, you decide who's going to go on doing an adventure or a quest, which is sort of the push forward to go on. And while doing that, on the enemy side, you typically have a couple of bad guys or even sometimes locations in that zone that all added together counter what you're doing with your questing. So what you have to do each time is to push through and commit people to that questing thing, not to be overwhelmed by the other side and then lose the game by sort of being overwhelmed there. The downside is if you send someone on to questing, he can't do much else. So he can't fight, he can't defend, and so on. And going on forward for the next phases, you can decide to travel to one of the locations. Traveling to a location has the benefit of you being able to remove the location from this opposing track, and suddenly
The sun comes out.
I just so suddenly
The sun comes out.
so suddenly their influence value is not counted against you anymore. So it's a nice way to get rid of it. But that you can only do that with one location. And the downside for you is if you send someone questing and you generate more quest points than the opposition has, you get to put little markers on the objective cards. Advancement cards to finally solve that. And a lot of cards just say, put 5 markers or put 8 markers on this, and if you manage to do that, go on to the second phase of the adventure. So you want to constantly in the questing phase have more in terms of whatever advancement points they're called than the opposition, so that you can put the difference in terms of tokens on the adventure. But if you travel to a location, you have to fill up the tokens on that location first, and once you do that, that location leaves play. And while saying that, all of those cards typically have effects saying, if it comes into play, do this, or if you travel to this location, do that, or if that location leaves play, do something else. And generally not very good stuff. Afterwards, so that is sort of the entire, you have to move forward slowly, wading through the locations of Middle Earth to get to wherever you want to do. But as everybody knows from the books and the movies, there's the occasional fight coming around. So while the oppositions go up there, each one of them has a certain value attached to them, and you also have that value in some kind of doom tracking device that goes from I think typically 20 to 25
20
or
something
30 points, and
up to 50.
And if your track reaches 50, you're eliminated from the game. And that is actually what happens if you don't send someone to questing. That questing number of the opposition directly
goes to your doom track.
Your doom tracker, and also that goes up once per round. So you have to push forward and don't give too much time to the bad guys. On the other hand, if that value gets too high, you are way more prominent. That means that the more badass enemies are going to combat you. So the next step is compare the numbers on top of the enemy cards with your Doom track, and if it's the same number or your number is higher, they are going to pay you a visit and come to you and fight you. And you can't do anything against that. You can fight enemies if you want to, but pretty much like the hobbits, maybe sometimes you want to sneak by them and don't go into open confrontation, especially if it's an effing mountain troll.
Yeah.
Who's really hard to beat.
Yeah. He killed one of your heroes. You were pretty much occupied with that.
Yeah.
Enter a very bad word here. The whole game.
Yeah.
The whole game. He was standing there like, hey, wanna have a cup of tea? And then I'm gonna club you. Something like that. So, and I couldn't really help him out. So that was really...
That must be super confusing
mean.
Because we're jumping around.
It was just mean.
So so that's sort of the gameplay loop. You first send someone on to questing. If you get points on, it goes. You try to resolve the advancement cards. You can travel to locations. That's one way to eliminate people from the opposing track. You can fight enemies. That's the other way to remove cards from the track. Of course, per player, a new card enters play each round. And you try to solve the conditions on the advancement cards, on the objective cards that typically say something like put 8 track markers on this. But sometimes they say actually resolve this, you also have to defeat a certain kind of enemy, or you have to do something else. So in the first scenario,
like dance your name.
It's very much travel to this Mirkwood, I think was the name. Travel through the Mirkwood. So there's a lot of spiders coming out, and you essentially have to just make sure that you push forward all the time until objective card 2 comes out. There you sort of decide if you go left or right, so you actually choose what the third card is going to be, one of the two, and that determines what you have to do to finish the scenario. And that might say, yeah, you have to put on 5 markers on the objective card, but you also have to defeat a specific kind of enemy to actually do that. So you have to meet up with both conditions. And the game we still constantly bemoan our ability to go forward was now the second one.
Yeah.
And the very first card is saying you have to put 8 markers on this and also defeat the mountain troll. And the mountain troll, as I said, does enough damage to insta-kill one of your heroes. If your 3 heroes are dead, you're also eliminated from the game. Yes, you can throw, so you can play cards to get more people on the board and throw them in front of the trolls so that they die, sort of, and you still keep
Cannon
the heroes.
fodder.
The other problem with the troll is that he has a really solid armor. So
Yeah.
even if I do that, So here's the interesting decision you have to make through the game. You have to commit someone to the quest, otherwise your track goes up and you lose the game. But you also have to keep a couple of guys left to defend against the attack from the enemies that are going to pay you a visit.
And then you need to have at least one that can fight back and hit the
Yeah, correct. And then
effing troll in the butt.
And then you need at least one, but well, the
That
thing
has
is
to be
you
strong
can,
enough.
You can only defend with one per monster, but you can attack with multiple per monster.
Yeah.
The problem that we had was I could defend against the troll attack, sort of. Sometimes, yes, no. I played that healer archetype, so I could defend it and then heal up, or had some guys I could throw at him that died, and it wasn't that important. The problem was that I couldn't counterattack and generate enough hits to penetrate the armor and kill him. So he has like 9 hit points, and I got 6 down, so he was left with 3, and I just couldn't get rid of him. And we had almost like 15 advancement tracks on that card that only needed 8 to get to the next objective, but we couldn't get past this troll. So
And I couldn't help him because I didn't have Legolas with me, whose ability is to fight on somebody else's battle
So essentially,
and support, pretty much.
So essentially, you can typically only fight your own the guys who are in combat with you, and they stay in combat with you. So it is literally like you have different bands of adventurers who are sort of doing the same thing, but they are not necessarily in the same location, so they can't help each
One
other.
is in Rohan and the
Yes,
other one
yeah,
is in Minas Tirith, something like that. So second movie, third movie.
Something like that. But there are some characters who have ranged attacks, and that means that they can attack on to someone else's side. And the game is made for 1 or 2 players, it says on the box. In fact, you can play it up to 4, I think, without too many problems. Or you could try to go with more. You just add. So the difficulty scales with the more players you have, the more bad guys are coming out each turn. And there's some really nasty stuff going on in there. And I really like it. That
was my next question. Did you like the game?
It is very, very difficult and very soul crushing, but I think the game really, really captures the theme into mechanics very well.
Yeah.
You have essentially to do everything that happens in the Lord of the Rings. You have to go questing, pushing forward through these difficult terrains, difficult lands, and yes, that is essentially just you have to commit someone to do that. But
but still, you want to win as a gamer. You want to win.
So in terms of resource management, you have to always commit some of your guys to push forward, but that means you have to choose which one to go with that, and typically the ones who are really good at something are also good at least one other thing, and you don't want to really commit him, but you have to because
it's like I don't want to, but I have to.
It's like,
but what when you said that the theme translated well into the mechanics, what I like particularly about that game is that you somehow feel the despair that the characters in the books and the movies have during that game, because chances that you win are so slim, just like with the real story. And they transferred that beautifully into the mechanics. It's pretty much, you have a chance of 95% to get your ass handed by the game beautifully, but you get it handed. And it's frustrating, and it's really you're getting desperate because you try it once more and once more the same evening. You're playing for hours and hours and hours. I'm sorry, and you're just like, no, Middle Earth is going to be ruined like that, and
and
I really love that.
I think that the interesting part is that they covered the dooming atmosphere very well. They covered the traveling very well. Even the combat is nicely done in terms of, yes, you have your heroes, but you don't. So they should not die because
you get attached to them fairly quickly.
Well, you lose the game if you.
But no, I mean. They're just, if you never read the books, you somehow get attached to them. I mean, when you know the story, and that's pretty likely
I'm not too fond of Denethor, so.
No, but I liked Eowyn. She's my favorite character from the book. We're gonna roll back to that in 2 weeks with the art journal, but so I was ready to sacrifice somebody else, but not her. Although maybe some other character would have been stronger, and it would have been more clever to sacrifice her. So it's like, no, I don't want to. She's pretty.
but it is every ally that you have to lose to some kind of orc, because if you don't defend, terrible things happen, and the combat also works in a way that there's cards from the evil deck are put onto cards that are attacking you upside down, and they're flipped once they attack, and every card has the possibility of having a subtext that only accounts for combat, and then suddenly they have a little bit more strength, or they have some other weird effect, and if you don't oppose them, these effects tend really, really bad. And if you take damage that is unopposed, you have to put all the damage onto a single character or onto a single hero to
Hero, not even an ally that you could sacrifice. No, it has to be a hero. What?
So you really don't want to lose your heroes for on the one hand because they're heroes and you like them, on the other hand because you lose
They're
the game.
necessary.
And if you have to lose one, you sort of want to make it count. For something bigger. It's like, I have to sacrifice it, but that stupid mountain troll is now going down because...
Yeah, he cannot die for anything. It must be worth it. It's like in the books, like in the real story, they transferred that really well to the game. I really like that.
I'd be interested to see how it plays with more than
I
mean, I think we made no secret out of the fact that we really like Sentinels of the Multiverse, which is also a co-op card game against an enemy type of boss monster. But Sentinels is a lot simpler in individual mechanics. You have your deck and you have a couple of combos, but it's not really that difficult. It's more the fun of the game happens.
Yeah, and the funny heroes and the cool artwork and I'm throwing something at you. That's so more like it.
It's lighter on game mechanics, but bigger on communication. Actually, the Game of Thrones, the Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry.
I was like, hold on, we don't own any game with Game of Thrones.
Actually, we sort of by proxy, because a friend of ours got that as a birthday present.
Right.
So with the Lord of the Rings game, to me, it feels a little bit like playing Magic without lands.
Yeah.
But it has that kind of complexity when it comes to card
and it has that frustrating factor if you...
Yeah. And it's literally like, I know sort of what's in my deck. I have to... Do I draw the card that I need next time? And so if I had to compare that, I'd almost compare it like... It plays a little bit like... co-op Hearthstone against some people like, no, you don't know Hearthstone, but Hearthstone is a video game made by Blizzard, which is
I know the name and I saw some reviews, but I've never played it.
It is a very, very nicely streamlined version, similar to Magic in terms of, yes, you have cards, but you gain mana every turn automatically, and that is very similar to how the Lord of the Rings stuff works, with your heroes generate points that you may spend on cards each turn.
But only the heroes, not the allies. That's also another thing. That's also another thing why you don't want your heroes to be killed by an effing mountain troll.
I'd be interested.
It was like rage flip.
The only sad thing is, as with games like Magic, you have to spend some time on understanding how the cards work, and then you actually have to sit down and put some effort into building a deck.
Yeah.
With the problem with the stock decks is that they only follow one archetype, and sorry, that's a Magic term, but it's like they have one type of mechanic they are really good at. As I said, one deck is good for healing, one deck is good for combat, another deck is good for card control, card draw.
It's more like a red deck instead of a black and white deck, like a combo.
That's what archetype means in Magic. The color of the deck or the type of deck.
I don't care about those words.
Is it a counter deck or is it a... No, but
can we go on to the next game, honey?
But we would need some more time to...
Obviously not.
to play that. But so far I really like it.
Yeah, me too.
So the next game is way lighter on terms of game mechanics and
it just
equally frustrating for the likes of me.
The man, yeah. And it just arrived at our house yesterday.
And it's the
Machikoro!
The very nice small game called Machikoro, which I don't know what it means. It
said that on the box or in the somewhere. I read it. Where did I say? Did you read it to me?
No, I think I heard it in the.
You can start with the
someone-
mechanics, and I will
Someone
see.
mused about that in the Dice Tower review. I think one of those words means friend or something like that, but I'm not sure.
Go on with the mechanics. I'm going to find out.
Well, I googled it and Google Translate doesn't know it. So the
That's Google Translate.
if I had to express what Machikoro is in the names of two games, I would say it's
Dominion.
Quicks meets Dominion.
Yeah.
So it's a
Machi, die Stadt, Koro, Würfeln.
Oh.
I said I read it somewhere. It's on the back of the box.
see
Japanese for
Secret-
beginners.
secret knowledge. So it's a rolling dice town. So the way this works is you want to build a small town, village, whatever, and you start out with 2 cards, and each of these cards has little numbers on top, ranging from typically 1 to 6, and some range even from 2 to 12. And if that sounds familiar, that is because those are the numbers that you. I think
These
you
are
have
the
to-
starting things.
Have to hold it a little bit closer, and so
No,
that it
it's not getting
doesn't
there.
reflect the light. So
Let's tip it, but it's not. It's gonna be blurry because the focus is on our face, not on.
So there's
Anything closer.
There's a little number, and the way it works is you start your turn, you roll a die, and if you rolled a number that you own, you get coins for that. And at the end of the turn, you may spend coins to buy new cards. Now when with new cards you get obviously more chances at rolling something. You may buy cards a couple of times. So one of the easy questions is, do you want to spread out and have the numbers 1 to 6 or 2 to 12 covered, and or do you want to hog on a certain type of thing, and once you roll that once you really cash in, which is I get to later with 2 dice, but obviously knowing that 7 is a very frequent roll with 2 dice helps with the game.
Yeah.
And you roll your die, you get money for that, and then you buy a new building, and the next person's turn is. But that's not all, not quite. So there's actually 4 different kinds of buildings. There's green ones, which give you money on your turn if you roll the number. There's blue ones that give everyone money on the turn, whoever rolled the dice. So if I roll a 3 and Sarah has a blue 3 card, she also gets the effect of the card for that one.
That's down here with a meeple number.
Yeah.
1 meeple means only you. 3
Then-
meeples mean everybody.
And then there's the red cards, which actually don't give you anything if you roll on the number on your turn, but if someone else rolls that number, they have to give you money from their stack. Hopefully they have something, not
It's like the witch
someone
in Dominion.
sitting next to
Well,
me.
I was just very
Not-
clever with my
not having-
strategic approach of the game. And then we have Violet, and these cards are special because you can only own one of those cards.
And they're
not
also
multiple.
almost all of them are take money where you can.
Aggressive, very aggressive. They are like the witch or some other card in Dominion.
So how do you win? You have to
Being me.
You have to build
No?
four crucial buildings in the game, and everybody starts with one of those, and they start from pricing $4, $10, $16, $22. So you want to either buy them in order, or you can buy them in any order you want. Each of these cards, if you bought them, they get turned over, and they give you a little bonus. So the cheapest cards costs 4, and it actually allows you to decide if you want to roll 1 die or 2 dice. So even early on you can start with things like, do I stay on a track just 1 to 6 and try to get buildings that are all ranked in the field 1 to 6, or do you want to break out and use 2 dice? Obviously if I have a building that's 7 to 12 and I roll a 7 to 12, nobody else is getting any benefit from that if I have the high up rated buildings. And then there's a bunch of cards that have combo effects, like You get two coins worth for each card of that type that you already have bought. So you start deck building with
and they all have like a tiny symbol here. I hope it's not glaring in the camera.
Yeah,
those are the categories that you could then have, like SD card change.
Yeah,
so where were we?
One could think that this is a very unprofessional joint, lighting changes all the time, SD cards.
But it's real life. It's very difficult.
It's real.
It's very difficult to have all of those things in your video show up once in a while, and
so you win the game by building those four things, and the first one to build all four has essentially won instantly, and that's it. It's very simple.
Yep.
And
get some coins and some.
As you can see,
Why
it's
is the
it's
box
not a
open?
it's a really small
Yeah.
box. So
It's like a couple of coins in there and 2 dice and the cards. That's it.
you need a surprising amount of
Yes,
space.
you need quite a bit of space.
For putting the cards down, at least if you're more than 2 people playing the game. But
then again, you could arrange the stacks a bit differently than
True.
we had
True.
last night. But I really liked the game. It's going to be another edition of After Dinner games where we do have Space Beans, Love Letter, Quicks, and Mystery Rummy, and now Machikoro. And I really like these kind of games that you can play for like half an hour after dinner, and if you don't have time like we do now, if you don't have time to play the longer games. And with that, I really liked that it combined Dominion with Quicks, because sometimes I'm really good at rolling dice, but he's the guy that wins on any strategy game for the longest time.
Just for me to clarify, it's more that
it gives me a chance.
In her present, everybody is really bad at rolling dice. Even a friend of mine
There's
who's
an
really
aura.
good, proven for decades, not just merely years, decades of perfect dice rolling, is suddenly shattered into I don't understand. How could that be?
I'm like a Dementor. I'm taking away the ability
So
of everybody around me to roll dice.
My first thought was that the literal translation for Machikoro would have been lose to the one who's screwing with your die rolls, because
Anyway, it took me until the 5th edition of Dominion to win, because there were some mechanics in there that made it easier for me to win against him. Otherwise, the chances of me winning against him in Dominion is fairly slim. However, I mean, only in 2-player games. It's different in 4-player games. I have to say that. Anyways, but with this kind of game that has the cards mechanics of Dominion, which I like a lot, but adding the luck factor with the dice, that's really, really cool. I really like that. So it makes my life easier, and it's like, win, and he's like, didn't have a chance. I didn't roll any of those where you have, what's it called in English, pash? When you have...
Pairs.
Sorry, what?
A
A pair, okay. So I rolled a couple of those. He did not, and that was the first thing that he blamed on me as a reason for winning. I didn't roll any pairs. I only had 4. I'm good at rolling dice sometimes, but not if I have to roll against an enemy, like with my mystic. Are you done?
Yeah, I think we're done.
So you can be sure that this game will be played a lot in the next couple of months. And
Also,
at least until Spiel. When we, what's the
spoil-
current number of the games on our list?
It's actually now it's not that as much as 15 or 16 now that are in the closer.
Did some of them say we are not going to publish?
No, some of them are right here.
Oh, yeah, that's like one game. Oh, and Shadowrun, that's two.
Yeah, that, because spoiler, we are gonna play Shadowrun today, which I'm
Well,
really
you are.
excited about.
Probably. I hope I have time. But then again, videos. And otherwise, the friend is coming over later on today, and he will play with hubby if I can. So, if you hear loud laughter in any of the videos that I shoot today, I'm very sorry about that, but not really. Last week, I had to work, and the guys were gaming. And you can hear them in the videos that I shot last Sunday, because they are laughing so loud that even through closed doors and everything, they are on the voiceover audio track.
Yeah, so what we did is I downloaded a couple of games on Steam for the PC, put 3 controllers onto the machine, and then we played them sitting on this very couch.
Because this is the gaming couch.
And there's some hilarious stuff out there. So the things I aimed for were specifically couch competitive types of games, and so we played Gang Beasts. This was published by Double Fine, which is essentially just little dudes or little people in animal costumes, like these cutesy whatever they're called. That what's the show name that you watch? Where they
Friendzone.
Friendzone, yeah.
On Polaris.
So they
with Dodger.
So pretty much running around, and then you have one button controls one arm, another button controls another arm, but then you have to hold the button to grab something. And aim is throw someone out of the ring to win, or throw them over something depending on the stage that you're in. And it's so clumsy, but it's super funny animated that you literally it's like someone running around like this, which is fun.
Mount Your Friends.
Mount Your Friends is comedy gold.
Yes.
Mount Your Friends is very similar to games like Quop, where you have you control your appendages with
all of them if you're a guy.
Each with one button to hold them, and you essentially have as crazy as it sounds, you have a goat in the center, and person 1 starts to mount the goat, so get on top of that, and then hit start once you're the highest on that. Then the next one starts, and you have to climb up, and so you have to push a button to release hand or foot from the ground and move it with the controller. So you literally have someone and then moving the feet over, and that game is very, very good if you include the pictures of everybody playing as the heads, which you can do, and it's hilarious looking.
Yeah. I guess that was the point where you laughed the loudest.
No.
In the videos.
So from a gameplay mechanic, the best is Lethal League, which
I forgot about that.
Which is essentially baseball. Everybody is sitting. It's like baseball squash. So everybody is standing in a room hitting a baseball. And if you hit the baseball, it turns into your color and can't hurt you anymore. If you hit someone else with the baseball, he gets eliminated from the game. And that's it. But each time that thing is hit, it gets faster. So, and it's really the old arcade Capcom anime style type of thing. You then get to the point where someone's hitting the thing, and every time the ball gets quicker, it takes a little bit longer for it to be released once you hit it. So you get up to these and everything flashes up, and even at some point the screen goes dark and everything explodes, and it's getting to these really, really tense matches where 2 people are staying in front of each other and hitting the thing and then at the last moment and he got it and trained back and
Almost Star Wars with a lightsaber.
yeah, pretty much, and everybody's sitting on the couch. Oh, you got it. Yeah,
So you can imagine
super fun.
what it was like sitting up there with my headphones and the mic and like, God, I hear them, and I have to leave my voice at my normal level because I was like in a tutorial voicing over something in the background. You hear those three guys screaming and laughing so hard. So it was difficult on two levels, actually three, like me not being able to play with you guys, me is keeping my voice level although I was giggling pretty much, and three, well, having them in my video involuntarily. So yeah, it was a fun night
we
for you.
We will certainly repeat that.
I'm very sure you will. Yeah. One of these days.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that will conclude our session here because I now have to go and read the menu for Shadowrun.
I have to make coffee and have to eat something. I'm hungry. And then I have to work.
Goodbye.
Why are you covering up Anton?
I don't. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Take good care. See you next week. Have fun. Enjoy. Any questions, let me know. Toodaloo. With the gummy shoe.